Krishnaji, there is a strange phenomena happening in the world today, where the East reaches out to the West to find sustenance, and the West reaches out to the East for, in inverted commas, wisdom, to fill some vacuum which exists. Is there, would you say there is an Indian mind which may have the same directions or contain the same elements of sorrow, greed, anger, etc., but where the ground from which these spring
are
different?
If I may, sorry to interrupt. Are you asking whether the Eastern thought, Eastern culture, Eastern way of life is different from the West?
Well, that obviously the Indian way of life is different to the West.
It is.
Because of the conditionings of the two are different. But they, in a sense, complement each other.
In what way?
In the sense that the East, or India more specifically, lacks perhaps that precision of carrying an abstraction to concrete action.
Are you saying they live more in abstraction?
Yeah, they are not so concerned about action in the environment, action as such.
What would you say they are concerned with?
Today, of course, there is a great change taking place. It's very difficult to say what the Indian mind is, because the Indian mind today is looking at one level for the same material
progress in the technological world.
Yes, progress in the technological world.
And applying it in daily life and so on.
And consumerism.
Consumerism, yes.
It has percolated very deep into the Indian spirit.
So what ultimately is the difference between the Indian mind, Indian culture, and the Western culture?
Perhaps still, in spite of this material overtone, there is a certain edge to the delving process, if I may put it, that when it goes into the field of perceiving within, no, not parapsychology. Parapsychology is very developed in the West.
I know.
But I'm talking about this, the delving into the self, the delving into the within, the insights into things. For centuries, the Indian mind has been nurtured on a ground of this feeling. Whereas from a certain time in the West, there was a movement away, and there's always been a movement away, right from the time of the Greeks, towards the outer, the environment.
I understand, but the other day I heard on the television, a very well-known Indian was being interviewed. He said technological world now in India is humanizing the Indian mind.
No, I understand that.
I wonder what he meant by that, humanizing. Instead of living in abstractions and theories and complexity of ideations and so on, the technological world is bringing them to earth.
And perhaps it is necessary to some extent.
Obviously it's necessary.
So, if these two minds have a different essence,
I question that very much, whether the Indian thought, I'm sorry, I don't mean that, whether thought is ever east or west. There is only thought, it's not Eastern thought or Western thought. The expression of thoughts may be different in India, and here it may be different, but it's still a process of thought.
but is it also not true that the way what the brain cells contain in the West and what perhaps the centuries of knowledge and so-called wisdom in the East have given a content to the brain cells which make them perceive in a different way?
I wonder how accurate what you're saying. I would like to question what you're saying, if I may. I find when I go there's much more materialism now than there used to be.
Yes.
More concern with money, position, power, and all that. And of course, there is overpopulation and all the complexity of modern civilization. Are you saying that the Indian mind has a tendency to an inward search, much more so than the West? Is that what?
I would say so. I would say just as the Western mind has not only technological, but environmental even.
Yes, environmental, economic, and so on.
The movement
ecological.
Outer, the inner environment, there's the inner environment and the outer environment. And I think if you take it that way, I would say the outer environment
is much more.
Is the concern of the West, and the inner environment has been the concern of the East, of India.
Has been the concern, but it has been the concern of a very, very few people.